my dad's place. I'm going to pick up a 1960 Ford half-ton. It's a 4x4. It was my great-grandfather's truck. He purchased it used back in 1973. And the only thing he never saw action, I guess, was driving from town to the farm. And the farm was only about 2 miles out of town. And they only really used this truck when it was muddy because it had 4x4. It's a step side. It's kind of a rust bucket right now, and I really don't have a lot of plans for it. I really just want to get it home. It doesn't have brakes, so that's one thing I'm going to work on, is try to fix the brakes. Got the trailer on the back of the truck here, and it's headed out that way. So I got the 1960 Ford pickup loaded up. I'm gonna take it slow going home. Hopefully I get home before night falls, because my wife was telling me that the trailer brake lights were coming on intermittently, and she was following me as I was driving over here. I think you probably just need some dielectric grease or something like that on the connection. Well, anyways, I'm gonna get this thing home and I'm gonna see if I can get it unloaded tonight. Well, I got the 1960 Ford F100 pickup in my workshop now. Figured I'd just give a quick tour. It is a rust bucket, to say the least. Got some significant rust here and back here in the bed, just all along the bottom of the bed. I got some parts to replace the brakes. See what's going on there. Right now there's just no pedal on the brake whatsoever. The engine is just a straight line 6. Needs to be tuned up. Needs a power wash more than anything. I might take that valve cover off and clean it up real good. Battery is good, needs to be charged. I believe the radiator is good. A little bit more rust there on the bottom of the fender. And what's left of a glass pack looks like Swiss cheese, and it just has a straight pipe coming out the end. So I'm going to get that fixed. So my intentions with the truck are fix the brakes, give it a little tune up, fix that exhaust leak, do something about that windshield seal, and the back glass has the same problem. The seal is just gone. Fix the light. It's got some electrical issues. Lights don't work. And, but as far as like cosmetics, you know, that dent. But I kind of like the patina on it. That's the old 1960 Ford F100 that I'm going to be tinkering with. This old shock is just shot. You see how it's completely old. Taking them off. I'm going to replace them with new shocks. That's the top of the shock there. It should be going through this mount, but the shock is just so old and worn out, it's not even pushing back up. Okay. This is one worn out shock. Well, looks like I got an incorrect sized shock because I compressed it all the way down. That's as far as it'll go. Alright, I had the idea, it didn't dawn on me before, but to try to jack up the body a little bit. So that should actually give me the clearance that I need. Let's see if this works. There we go. So that's going to work now. I just had a little bit too much down pressure on the body on the springs to make that fit. I'm going to let the body down. Much better. That sucker was rattling and got crazy. I have to hold it with these pliers to keep it from spinning as I unscrew this nut. I sprayed some WD-40 on that bolt before I started this. So, I figure that's probably the only way to get that nut off of there after all these years. These may be original shocks, as wore out as they are. Top one is free. Look at that. I haven't taken any slack off that nut. And that's how bad these shocks were. My goodness. Good grief. Didn't want to come loose. That's the big Bosch Sawzall. See what was going on with that bolt. There it is. It's hot. That's where I cut it. It actually looks bent. That's why it wouldn't come off. I don't know if you can see in the camera. It's bent going that way. And that's why it wouldn't come off. It just kept getting tighter and tighter as I turned it. There we go. Here's a look at the front shocks and the rear shocks. They've just lost all their ability. I'm just barely putting any pressure on this thing, and it's, you know, a new shock should really be causing me to put a lot of force behind it to compress. This one's not in as bad a shape, but these rear shocks are just totally shot. So I got some brake parts in. These are the rubber brake hoses that I'm replacing. These old crummy ones with new. There's two in the front and then one on the back. New front brake shoes and rear brake shoes. Alright, here I've got the new brake shoes next to the old. The rear part, the rear shoe is in not too bad a shape. As you can see, the two are about, the new one's obviously a little bit bigger, but the considerable difference is on the, comparing the new shoe with the front brake shoe. This one is considerably worn. Honestly, they're not that bad. I could have kept going with them, but since I was there, I was going ahead and replacing the cylinders. Why not put new shoes on? This is the right rear brake shoe. Just wanted to show how the pad had separated a little bit here. But worse than anything, I wanted to show this pad, how that's just completely disintegrated. So yeah, that was a problem. There's my setup, and you can see the hose going down into the brake release valve. So now I'm going to go pump the brake. Should start seeing some fluid come out. Looking at the soft line, the rubber brake hose that I put on the truck, I got them all installed. I had to use some adapters on the other side to get the size to fit. This is a 3/8" hose, and I had to end up using some adapters. You can see there's an adapter that's connected actually to the cylinder back there, and then there's a similar sized adapter on the other side of that frame. But I got them all working, got them all bled. Show you what the master cylinder looks like. There's the master cylinder installed. I had to use a new brake line here because when I was trying to take this off, it wouldn't spin freely, so it just started kinking the line. And then that hose down there, I did not have that rubber hose, and I might end up needing to replace it. I don't know. It's a very small reservoir. I had a lot of trouble when I was bleeding the brakes. The fluid would just run out real quick, so I'd have to constantly be checking this reservoir to make sure that I'm not sucking air and putting air back into the system. You can see the new rubber brake hose that I put in the back. It's going to that T-junction, and the new hard brake lines going into the new brake cylinders. So it basically has about 90% new brake lines. Everything is it's got all new hard and soft brake lines except for that part up there on the master cylinder that you just saw. But everything going back back here to the back is brand new hard brake lines, and I'm pretty proud of the way it turned out. Alright, I'm working on taking off this exhaust, and I got this little compression thing off of here, and I got the mount, this old mount that mounted back here connected to the frame. I got that off, so this is just wobbly. I cannot get this off of here. I was hoping I'd just be able to slide it off and then, you know, replace it with another 2-inch exhaust, but the only thing I can think is cutting it off here. I don't want to cut it off here because I'm not going to have enough space to slide the new exhaust on. So I'm going to cut it here and then see if I can just work that out. But I've beat on it already a lot, and it's just, they're fused together. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Alright, so I got it off of there without messing up the end pipe. So, now we're ready for a new muffler. Here's a closer look inside the muffler. Received my thrush glass pack in the mail today. Purchased it on Amazon for $23. And there's a look at the old glass pack. And the reason why I went with glass pack is simply because that's what was on it before, and I know that's what fits. And that was $23, whereas a regular muffler would have been around $40. And I was also having trouble finding a muffler that had the 2-inch pipes that I needed, whereas the thrush glass pack had exactly what I needed. So between the glass pack, the mounting hardware, and then the little bit of extra length of pipe and a downturn pipe, I had $50 in the exhaust. I could get a whole exhaust brand new from LMC truck for $149, and then I have to pay an extra $20 for shipping because it's a bulk item. So by doing this myself here and just kind of piecing together the parts that I needed, I saved 120 bucks. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out this thrush glass pack and compare it. Originally I was looking for a muffler because I kind of want the truck to be quiet, kind of want to keep it semi-stock, and like I said, I couldn't find a good muffler. They're out there, but they're a little bit more expensive, and given that it had a glass pack on it previously, I figured I'd stay with what my great-grandfather originally had on it. As you can see, the new glass pack is quite a bit longer than the original. I did some reading and I found that the longer the glass pack is, the more it kind of muffles the sound. So that's why I went with the longer glass pack. They sell, I think, this one here is a 31-inch thrush. I think they sell them even down to 18 inches. As you can see down in there, it's just basically a straight tube. It's just a straight tube, and then, you know, little holes along the inside kind of help muffle the sound as the sound waves go into the fiberglass on the outside here. So you can see how long it is. And I'll put in some kind of bracket or something to hold it up. These are 2-inch mounting brackets. So alright, I'll get that tightened up in a minute. Here's my straight pipe. I'm going to have to cut it. How it's kind of beveled out here, I'm going to have to cut this off to make it work. So I decided to go with a turn down pipe instead of going all the way straight out the back. And I was looking at the service manual, and that's exactly what they show in the service manual for these trucks. Just get it past the cab. You know, here's the cab right there. Alright, so I've got two types of brackets. I got this type here, and I got this here. I got a hole here in the frame that I think how to do this right. Just want to see what would be the best option. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this. Okay, so I cut that one piece off with the Sawzall. Alright, so this may not be the right way to do it, but it seems like it will make sense to me. So that's how I'm going to mount that to the frame. As soon as I get everything tightened up, that'll kind of hold it better in place. And then cinch up all my bolts here. And there's my downturn pipe. And then there's the connection up there. I'm thinking that will be enough. I don't know, I may need to figure something else out. We'll see what it looks like whenever I get it all tightened up. Alright, so there's the exhaust bolted in, and it is very snug. I'm very kind of surprised how snug that is, so I don't think it's going to need any more supports. I was thinking it might need a support down here, you know, somewhere, but as snug as that is, I think we are in good shape. This shifter, four-wheel drive shifter, was stuck in this position in four-wheel drive high, and I could not move it, so I got under the truck. And right there on that two little bars that go inside that differential, those are jammed out, as you see them right there. And there was all this dirt that you see on the floor that was caked around that, and it was just it hadn't been shifted apparently out of four-wheel drive in years. And so I greased it up real good, of course knocked off all the dirt, and then pounded on it with a hammer to get them to engage, and then used a crowbar to pull them back out. And I did that about 10 times, back and forth, back and forth. And that finally worked it loose enough that now I can shift it in and out of four-wheel drive. It's a little stiff, but it is shifting now. Pulled off the old floor mat and discovered a little bit of rust here. It's really not that bad of the rust. There's a little bit here and then this here. I believe I'll be able to just cut this little square piece out here, put some plate metal as a replacement. Okay, so as you can see, I just cut out the hole where all the rust was at in the floorboard. I'm going to use a grinder and kind of clean it up a little bit more. I hadn't decided what I'm going to do about this hole here, but the big one is just about ready to start getting it ready to clean up and patch. As you can see, I put a drop cloth behind the gas tank that's behind that cloth there, just to kind of prevent any sparks from catching the whole place on fire. Okay, so what I did is I went ahead and cut out the full piece. I think by cutting out a little bit bigger than I needed, it's going to allow me to lay a piece of metal in a little bit flatter and smoother. So now I can just cut something out to size and kind of just place it on in there. Same thing for there. I don't know how many tack welds I have on there, but I think I have enough to hold it. Now I'm going to get the other piece cut out and then tack weld it in, and then going to go along with the grinder and smooth all this out, and then it should be good. Then I'm going to paint it with, I don't know what I want to paint the floor. I want to put some kind of undercoat, I guess it would be overcoat, to kind of try to prevent any further rust. So now I'm on the driver's side of the cab of the truck, and I'm going to shift my focus on cutting out a square piece of plate metal here. I'll grind the rest of this area out and see how it's doing, but this for sure has to be replaced. And before I do any cutting, I want to look underneath the truck, see if there's anything that's going to get in the way. Hopefully there's no fuel line hoses or anything. So I'm going to be cutting this here. So I got to see what's on the back side of this frame. And my luck, it's probably going to be a fuel line hose. Okay, so I did a little bit more looking, and there is indeed a fuel line that runs right through here on the frame on the other side. So I'm going to take a piece of plate metal and kind of fix it right up in here and kind of shield it from the heat. pulled out. So I'm gonna have it recovered. I'll probably just have just some old vinyl covering put back on it. Here's another look at the old seat that I'm gonna have recovered. Just gonna get it the same, similar vinyl, and I'm thinking probably it's already been recovered once, but we'll get that cleaned up, make it look a little better. Well, I'm putting the seat back in this morning. It originally had 8 screws that held the seat down, but 2 of the screws broke off, the studs broke off, and I had tried to use a screw extractor, and I ended up breaking my screw extractor, so I went and bought another one, and it did the same thing. So those studs are just in there. I could not find a way to get those out. So six bolts will hold it in fine. There's 2 in the front on each side and 1 in the back, but I think it'll be fine. Just as an old farm truck again, that's all that I'm aiming for. And here's the new seat installed. Final look here at the seat. This is just a straight vinyl seat. I had them put in just like some kind of pattern, like a little seam here, just kind of separate, so it wouldn't be just one solid piece of vinyl like it was before. And did the same here on the top. It turned out alright. I had quite a few broken springs, so they weren't able to do a whole lot with it. I really just needed a new seat, but for $150 on the vinyl reupholstery, I feel like I didn't do too bad. And see back here in the back where they had to just put some foam where the springs were broken. The passenger side over here is in pretty good shape. Everything is alright, but back over here on the driver's side, that's where it got all the abuse over the years, and so there's a piece of foam there, and there's a piece of foam on the bottom side. But once again, it's just an old farm truck. It'll do. Well, I got the old 1960 Ford out today. As you can see, she's running, smoking a little bit, not terrible. Could be just due to it sitting up a little bit. So some updates. That's a different battery than I was using before. I had some trouble with the battery. I had to swap I had to swap that one out with tractor battery. I was actually having trouble with the tractor and not this truck, so I knew the battery on this truck was good, so I used it. I did have some fuel line issues. The fuel line coming in from the cab back here, it got clogged up with old fuel, and I had to take a wire and shove it down in through the line to get it unclogged. So I painted the valve cover orange, but I guess my primer didn't work too well because as soon as I power washed it one time, it started flaking off. So I'll have to redo that, but it does look a little bit better after I cleaned it up anyways. I'm actually out here today, this pile of hay rings. There's probably at least remnants of 3 hay rings out here. I want to bring these up to the front where I've got my shop and my welder and tools, and I want to see if I can make at least one good hay ring from these remnants of old ones that have kind of rusted and rotten away. So that's why I've got the flatbed trailer. I'm going to roll those over there on top of it. I think I'll be able to make at least one good hay ring, maybe 2. See what I can do. These hay rings, they rust over time, and they always need repairs after every season, so it's just the time of the year to get everything ready for winter feeding. It even has the obligatory farm zipper spider. Those things get on everything. He'll be the mascot of the 1960 Ford.